Yesterday, Donald Trump did what many people have predicted he would do, started talking about potentially delaying the election. We're referring to this tweet, which we talked about on yesterday's show, where he said, with universal mail-in voting, not absentee voting, which is good. Nope, it's the same. 2020 will be the most inaccurate and fraudulent election in history. It'll be a great embarrassment to the USA. Delay the election until people can properly, securely, and safely vote, asks the president with 3 question marks and a capitalized election. So he asked that. And, we were rightfully worried about that because this is in the middle of a fascist crackdown on protesters in a number of different cities. So the idea that he would try to cancel an election or postpone it is something we're worried about. He has responded to those concerns and given an update. But before we launch into that, Brett, you weren't on the show yesterday. So what did you make of his initial tweet?
His initial tweet was, it's a finally. He finally said the thing that he was implying. And it wasn't a shock. I've seen a couple really good angles on it, but they've all everything's been covered. How is it safe enough to send kids back to school, but not safe enough to vote? Mm-hmm. Well, the answer to that is he just wants to stay president. He's not going to quit. He's not going to back out. This is his sad attempt to get something into the national dialogue. That's how it works. And I've seen the responses since then, and I think it's at this point more interesting to talk about what he did next as proof of his strategy and relate it to the general governing strategy of Trump, discourse, the media, and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. And I see someone in the chat saying, well, so won't it be fraudulent if he wins? Presumably.
No.
I think they'll work past that. I think they'll be okay.
Yeah, they'll find I mean, listen, no Republican president has gotten the most votes. Mm-hmm. That is the batty, crazy fact of American electoral politics. Yeah. And everyone's been able to wrap their mind around that. So this would be easier for them.
Yeah, and the right-wing media is going to push past it just fine. In the words of a great movie, grift finds a way. They'll find a way to work past that. So let's get to his update. Today, facing a nation worried that he is going to, in an authoritarian fashion, just postpone an election, that he has no ability to do so, says, glad I was able to get the very dishonest lamestream media to finally start talking about the risks to our capital democracy from dangerous universal mail-in voting, not absentee voting, which I totally support. I love that he has to put that now because it was found that both he and literally everyone he's ever talked to have done mail-in voting, so now he has to always put that little thing. He then went on to say, must know election results on the night of the election, not days, months, or even years later. Nobody thinks years. What would that? Yeah, we're just gonna wait. We're just gonna chill for a bit as years roll by until we find out. No, it's a ridiculous dodge. So here, he is doing the thing that we sort of predicted yesterday. He's pretending he's just raising concerns. He's just a concerned citizen like anyone else. No, that's not what he was doing. That's, people's response. They're worried that he could, in the end, try to delay this or cancel it outright. I don't think that it's going to happen if I had to put money down on it. But the idea that it couldn't happen simply because it's illegal seems to me to be a bit naive, considering where we're at.
I have called this many times either the justice butthole or the Trump fart, which is... You don't he puts something very uncomfortable inside your mind hole. And you're like, what? That's horrible. What? You can't do that. And just because of how brains work, he'll step back and say, don't worry. I that was a trick. I don't actually mean that. Anyways, here's how, by widening your justice butthole, you're letting other things kind of get through that way. That's really what it is. I don't know how else. I mean, sure, there's way more appropriate ways to describe it, but that's what he's doing. He now is trying to fit the something equally violating, but at least by comparison to delay the election, something that we've never, ever, ever done, something a smaller violator, which is. Let's get back to talking about how we all now know and accept that voting by mail is evil and wrong and corrupt. And he just keeps doing that until you don't feel it anymore.
Yeah.
until you don't feel it. And so much of the stuff that he's done is stuff that is wrong. It goes against the Constitution, but we just don't feel it anymore. Like, yeah, that's what I just said. It. Like, it's more interesting to talk about. Wait, what? Something is more interesting and more compelling to talk about than the president of the United States putting out there into the discourse, floating the idea that we could delay the election.
Yeah,
it sucks. It's a great strategy for him. It's made him president of the United States, but at what cost? At what cost to the office of the presidency? At what cost to the integrity of the United States? At what cost to our reputation around the world? I mean, there were many things we were doing in secret that people hated us for rightly. This stuff is so loud and so horrible that America can't even pretend to be the moral authority on the planet.
I agree. It's a great point. And I love that every week we start off with Francesca Fiorentini and her hashtag show us the undies, and we end with Brett and his justice butthole. For more political news breakdowns, interviews, stories of activism, and me trying my hardest to care about the occasional big celebrity news story, subscribe to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/The Damage Report. And you can ring the bell wherever it is so you don't miss anything.